the thing too, and I was commenting about this on LinkedIn and a couple of places when people were talking about interest rate cuts. I said, look, this is only, and as I've mentioned on this channel many times before, this is only one of several headwinds that are facing multifamily right now.
Correct.
And any one of these headwinds would have really caused pain. And we've got
Hmm.
all of them at the same time. So the rate hikes are just one piece of it. The other pieces are in certain markets, you've got really large oversupply. And that is not
Correct.
going to,
And getting worse.
and getting worse. I mean, Dallas, 10%
Sheesh.
vacancy
Yeah.
market wide. I mean,
10% vacancy in Dallas and getting worse. Yes.
yeah. So listen, just to put some context to that, if you're looking to get agency debt, you have to show 90% occupancy for, I forget at this point if it's 6 months or a year or whatever, for that for the federal agencies to consider the property stabilized, right?
Okay.
So, and you can't, otherwise you're looking at bridge debt or CMBS debt or something else that's just not as good as agency debt, right? So unless the agencies change that, it's going to be hard to get agency debt in a market like Dallas, where your occupancy may be below 10% now. Right now, obviously, it's going to be affecting, that's affecting more like Class A properties that are in lease
Mhm.
up, what have you. Nevertheless, 10% vacancy is going to cause a lot of people to pause
Yep.
buying stuff in that market. And you've got that across a lot of markets throughout the Sun Belt right now have got very high vacancies. That's one major headwind. Another major headwind is uh, expense growth,
Yep.
right? You've had in
Taxes,
particularly
insurance, crazy.
particularly in places like some of the hottest markets like Texas and Florida, insurance rates have gone through the roof. Uh, Taxes have gone through the roof. The way that it's funny. I have a good friend, very very conservative guy, right?
Hmm.
Only invests in states that have an income tax. Why
Oh,
is
okay.
that? Because states that have an income tax don't whack you as hard with property
Yeah.
taxes. And as
Yeah,
an
I've
out
heard
of
that.
state as an out of state owner, he
Yep.
doesn't care about he's not paying income taxes. He's only
Yep.
paying property taxes, right? But
Correct.
if you're looking at states that have no income tax, well, where do they get the money? They get the money by
Property. Yep.
by whacking property, right? So places like Texas and Florida, um,
Yeah. Hammered.
they're getting hammered, right? And then insurance are getting hammered, and labor costs are getting
Hmm.
hammered, right? So
Yeah. It's all
all
bad.
your
Yeah.
NOI, and this we've talked about this so many times, like the other component, the two components of your DSCR are your debt service and your NOI, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Yep.
What we've had now is debt service going up and NOI going down, which is like the worst of all worlds. Now maybe there's a little relief on the debt service piece,
Yeah.
but the NOI is still down, right? And
Yeah.
it's
It's
going to
not
take,
good.
and you can't grow your rents now, right? Because
Mhm.
you've got too much occupancy, you've got too much vacancy, you've got,
Yep.
you can't raise rents in a lot of markets, right? You've got
Yeah.
outright rent declines, as you were just mentioning about for the
Yeah.
CPI. You've got outright rent declines in a lot of markets, particularly the Sun Belt. So the pain is not over, and the way that these, I mean,
No, the pain is not over. I tried to open this with just a crazy saying. It is not over. Uh, I don't even think it's less worse. I think there's a couple of people at the margins that might be saved, but it is such a small increment. There's still plenty of pain coming, lots of sins to be paid for.
also Michael, you know the way that this works too, because you've been around, right? The
Yeah.
the the when you look at like the Great Recession, right? The pain lasted for years, right? It doesn't
Years.
doesn't
Yes.
a lot of it doesn't even hit till after the quote unquote recovery has started.
Correct.
Right? So the
Yes.
economy may be doing better, but the pain is still catching up
Yep.
with all these owners.
Hmm.
So I
Yep.
I don't even with even if let's just say rates go back to zero, right?
Sure. Okay.
You're there's still going to be a lot of pain. There's still going to be people
Oh,
getting foreclosed on. There's still
oh
going to,
yeah.
because of all these other issues that are
Hmm.
that the industry is still faced with,
Yeah.
and and we're not clearly going to zero, right?
No.
So
Yeah, clearly not going to zero. Yeah. So again, I think there's plenty of pain.